Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I begin by sketching the face with burnt umber mixed with a bit of lavender spice solvent to thin the oil paint and help it spread more smoothly on the canvas. Normally, I would sketch on paper first and then transfer it onto the canvas using carbon paper, but today I decided to sketch directly onto the canvas. I found this approach more enjoyable and exciting compared to drawing on paper with a pencil and then transferring it. I work from dark first and then gradually blocking lighter to lighter areas. For the dark areas, I use ultramarine blue, yellow ochre, and burnt umber, creating shadows with a slightly greenish tint. I block in the light areas using primarily cadmium orange, alizarin crimson, and white. For the cooler light areas, I add a bit of ultramarine blue and a touch of yellow ochre. I like to fill in small sections of the face with different shades, showing the color shifts in the skin tone values. Afterward, I use another brush to blend a bit the contour edges to soften the hard edges between light and dark areas to make it look more natural. I use different brushes for the light and dark color groups to avoid muddying the colors. This was a mistake I made when I first started painting, using the same brush for both light and dark area, which result in my final painting turn out to be a bit muddy and not vivid enough. After blocking in the face, I begin detailing its features, typically starting with the eyes. I use a small brush to define the details more easily. For me, the eyes are probably the most challenging part of the face and the one that takes the most time, but they also convey the most feeling of the character. If I had more time, I would want to add even more details and spend more time on the eyes. Sometimes it's quite frustrating when the eyes don't convey the emotions I intended, and I end up adjusting them over and over again. This is quite a spontaneous painting that I was just inspired to paint last week. I was just a bit tired with my current large painting, so I decided to relax a bit and set that bigger painting aside. Started to paint a smaller one for practicing and maybe just for fun. And I'm really excited to share with you my process as I find myself quite relaxing and playful with this painting as I didn't want to be too serious with it. but I'm quite satisfied in the end that it brought me lots of joy in the process and also satisfaction, which I thought the most important thing. The neck and the shoulders are the parts that I enjoy the least in the whole painting process. When it comes to painting portraits, I don't know why, but I struggle a lot with painting neck and shoulders and the arms. Usually, it takes me a lot of time to paint these areas, and I often have to adjust again and again on the color value and also the anatomy of these features. Even after I think that I've finished the painting, I have to come back and adjust again. This is the first time I'm trying to paint a slightly different style from I usually paint. Recently, I've been deeply attracted and inspired by the Impressionist paintings. Especially, I captivated by the colors used by the Impressionist artists and the way light is depicted in their painting make them look incredibly attractive, and I have fallen in love with these loose brushwork, and I love it. I adore it so much. As I begin to block in the light areas for the background, I'm a bit nervous. I'm painting while I'm still thinking and looking at the references, the paintings by the artists who have inspired me. I'm contemplating how to mix the colors so the light areas are bright enough but still saturated, not overly white. I don't want to get too detailed with the background. As I mentioned, I want to create a slightly blurry, vague background instead of detailing every element as I just usually do in my previous painting. Now I prefer to define the leaves and the flowers with light and dark colors rather than focusing on drawing and detailing the shape of each element. Since this is my first time trying this style, I'm a bit afraid of making mistake with the placement of light and dark colors. But once I started painting, I found it really interesting to try this approach. I think the most important part of the painting process is the feeling I put into the artwork rather than focusing too much on right or wrong. I realize that when I don't try to detail everything, which I often tend to do, and even over detailing, it's caused me a lot of stress, and I don't know why it's destroyed my mood while I painting. But as of now, I just enjoy the process more, and I'm happier with the loose brushwork. Practicing and experimenting with light and dark areas is incredibly interesting to me. The final step of my painting process is adding highlights. I mainly use white and nickel yellow to depict daylight. To be honest, I'm not entirely satisfied because it doesn't seem bright enough. It still looks a bit darker than I expected. But anyway, this is the first time I tried painting with a bright daytime background. Most of my previous paintings have dark backgrounds. Perhaps next time I would block in a slightly brighter background. Maybe I think that I still need to learn a lot. And yeah, I'm excited to practice more and more about describing the contrast between light and shadow. I see that the bird does not pop out enough. It looks kind of blending into the background too much, so I decided to add more vibrant colors to make it look brighter and stand out more.